Bocchi and Nijika from Bocchi the Rock represent a bond of two broken souls becoming each other's savior. Because on the surface, this anime might seem like a lighthearted story about a girl trying to fit in a band, but a closer look reveals that this is about the fated encounter of two girls, both of whom are the missing pieces that allowed them to realize their dreams. You see, these two show us that all it takes to find hope in life again is to meet the right person at the right time. Someone who gives you a reason to keep on living. And the most beautiful part is, just as they are the light to you, you are the light to them. A two-way street kind of bond that uplifts and inspires one another. But what was missing from both Bocchi and Nijika's lives in the first place before they become each other's hope? By now, we all know that Bocchi suffers from crippling social anxiety and is incapable of forming any connections. As a result, she spent years of her life isolated from her peers, wondering if she'd be alone for the rest of her life. For people who lived the same life as Bocchi, it's not just a crushing loneliness or anxiety that you feel, but the hopelessness that things will never get better. That's why during the time when she felt lost, she found something to call her own. And that's music. But was it enough? As her musical talent grew, she remained the same. Even though she found her reason to keep on living and trying, music only became her way to cope. And the same goes for Nijika. As I mentioned in my previous video, Nijika's childhood was marked by loss and grief. Something a child shouldn't have to endure, losing her mother at such a young age. Nijika lost a part of herself that day, and it was only through Seika, her older sister, that she was able to get back on her feet and be inspired to take on the path of music, to become a successful drummer of a band. But just like Bocchi's situation, it wasn't enough. Dreams are not enough. I do believe in what Seika said, that in dark times, your dreams could be the light that could guide your way. But that kind of light is still not enough to pierce the cloud of darkness that shrouds Nijika. Just like in real life, we hold on to these dreams because it allows us to take a peek into a life that we truly want, giving us comfort and a possibility for better days ahead. We think that life's only better when we're dreaming, so we end up spending our lives sleeping. And without that one missing piece, our dreams will always stay as dreams. And that's the fate that these two girls share. Ideals and dreams that were never meant to be realized. That is, if these two never met. In fact, their band's journey didn't start when they were able to set foot on a stage and play together. No. It all began when Nijika set eyes on Bocchi for the first time and begged her to join. Little did both of them know that in each other, they would find what they were searching for all along. Bocchi never wanted fame or money. What she truly wanted was the recognition she never received growing up. Though she doesn't fully realize it, her desire stems from a deep need for acknowledgement. Her entire life, she felt invisible to everyone around her, yearning for someone to notice her. That's why her fantasies often center around an audience fawning over her. I mean, haven't you ever imagined yourself playing an impossible piano piece, earning a standing ovation in front of everyone? It's the same as Bocchi's daydreams, a deep desire to be seen. And who provided her with a chance to fulfill that need? That's right, Nijika. Since Bocchi joined Kesuke Band, Nijika became the catalyst for her growth. With her, Bocchi did things she never thought she would do, working a part-time job, making friends outside the band, and confronting her own anxieties. All this is thanks to Nijika's influence. Through Nijika, Bocchi also become more self-aware and mature, as shown in the manga. For example, Bocchi recognizes Nijika's sadness when Ryo stops showing up for work, even though it's Kita who's having a breakdown. Knowing Ryo is Nijika's closest friend, Bocchi thought that Nijika must be affected too. It's through Nijika's guidance that Bocchi grew, learned to confront her fears, and ultimately became someone who could be seen by the people around her. But it wasn't only Nijika who was giving. Bocchi also gave her something in return, and it was hope. Consider this question for a moment. What would have happened to Kesuke Band if Nijika had never recruited Bocchi? For one, the band wouldn't have had a guitarist to replace Kita when she ran away. And it was Bocchi who convinced Kita to return in the first place. Without her, Nijika's show would have been ruined. With only Ryo on the bass and Nijika on the drums, they wouldn't have been able to perform, and the show would likely have been cancelled. But that's not all. Without Bocchi, it is unlikely that Nijika would have found someone as vital to the band. It was Bocchi who not only brought Kita back, but also stepped up when the band's motivation started to crumble. In episode 8, when the band was losing momentum and the people started to leave, Bocchi surprised everyone with an inspiring guitar riff. Her Guitarhero moment reminded them all why they started in the first place, reigniting their passion. Without that, it's hard to say where Nijika's band would have gone. Most likely, she would lose the confidence to continue, failing to accomplish the only thing that kept her going ever since her mom died. Her dreams, and knowing how strict Seika is, she would probably acknowledge the fact that it's over. And that's why there's no one who can ever replace what Bocchi is to Nijika, nor anyone who could replace what Nijika is to Bocchi. These two girls show us that being someone's hope doesn't require some sort of grand gesture. All it really takes is a simple quiet presence. Someone who listens when the world feels too loud. Someone who believes in you when you can't believe in yourself. And just like how Bocchi and Nijika saved each other, you saved someone. Yes, you heard that right. You saved someone. In case you missed it, in my last video, as a desperate attempt to call for help, I reached out to each of you and shared the story of my friend's friend. Someone who couldn't even afford to put food on the table and was losing hope. Yet, my desperate plea was met with warmth, kindness, and support. Even when we faced some technical issues, people continued to offer not only their kind words, but also their financial support. Call me crazy, but doesn't this mirror the story of Nijika and Bocchi? Just as they become each other's hope, so did you and I. And for that, I would like you to hear the words of someone you helped.
Hey, I was the friend Hazy was referring to, which this whole thing was his idea, by the way, so I can't thank him enough for it, especially you guys. Just to give a reference, $6 is enough to buy 3 meals in our country. Like, pretty comfortable meals too. So if everything this event brought us is just $6, I would have been just floored. It would have made my day, but some of you just gave so much. Not only some, but a lot of you. It really shows me on just how help can go to the unlikeliest places. And yeah, I'd really like to say more, but thanks. Really, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Now that you heard his words, I would also like to say thank you. Thank you for trusting me. Because it wasn't just them you gave hope to, but also me. And this is what I ask of everyone. Please never stop being kind. In a world where there's nothing but cruelty, you are the one who can make a difference. You are the hope of the world.